Hello everyone, and welcome to this Videos on Frontier video. Now, I would like to share with you another episode of Storytime with Jay. Now, back in 2009, I needed to replace my laptop. I thought my ThinkPad R61i, was a wee bit faulty. It certainly was a wee bit slow for what I was needing of it. So, for a main laptop, I decided that I wanted something a wee bit better. So, I decided, quite foolishly in my opinion, on November the 22nd, 2009, to go to PC World. And I don't know why I did it, but I had a wee look around, and I knew what I wanted. I wanted something with at least a Core 2 Duo based processor. I wanted wireless, quite fancied Bluetooth. It had to have a good size screen. 15.4 inch was kind of a nice starting point. Good sized hard drive, at least 4 gigs of memory. Oh yes, and Windows 7 would have been quite nice as well. So I found a machine that I quite liked. The Sony Vaio NW-SF/S, which was, it's got an awful sounding model number. And I thought that this would be quite good. I mean, on paper at least, it certainly seemed to stack up. It had a 2.2 GHz Core 2 Duo, 250 gig hard drive, 4 gigs of DDR2 RAM, 15.5 inch display, and the whole thing seemed quite nice. So, and you know, I had a bit of a mess about with it at PC World at the time, and I went to, I decided to go to the, get an assistant who, believe it or not, actually went to my university. And I said, well, look, is this going to be any good for me? You know, for the course. I mean, I kind of know I do know what I'm doing with computers. At least I thought I did. Obviously, something went wrong when I decided that shopping at PC World was the best idea. Derp. But, so I said to him, as someone who'd done the year that I was in the third year of computing science at Aberdeen University. This guy was at the time in the fourth year. And I said, well, will it be good for the third year? And he said, well, yeah, it should be. So I paid up and I took it home. One thing though, when I said to the guy that I wanted this machine, he got it and a copy of Norton Antivirus and proceeded, quite sneakily in my opinion, to charge me £629 as opposed to the $599 that the machine cost. Quite sly move. I had to actually actively tell him, no, I do not want Norton 360 or Norton Internet Security or whatever it was that he was trying to peddle to me with the laptop. So I paid up and I took it back round to my then girlfriend's house. proceeded to set it up. And that's when I realised that something was definitely wrong. I mean, this machine was just slow. I mean, really slow. I had to reformat it about 4 hours after I'd got it, using the original restore image. When you have to do that, you definitely know that something is not right. When you have to format it straight after you've got it, pretty much. Anyway, I gave it the best shot. But when I took it to university on Monday, and it took a whole 10 minutes to start up and be in a position where I could actually go into Microsoft Word and start doing stuff, that's when I knew that it needed put back. So I went to PC World and I said, well, look, this machine is just, I've been missold this machine. And they were saying, well, no, we've got to take it in and test it to see if it's too slow. So I let them test it. Got it back the next day. And they were like, no, it's perfectly fine. So I gave it another go. And then on the Friday, no, I took it back, I believe, later that day, because it still wasn't playing ball. I mean, I know what a Core 2 Duo is like. I know how fast a 2.2 gigahertz Core 2 Duo is. And let me tell you something, that processor in the right configuration is not slow. Because I had a white MacBook with exactly the same, well, if not a couple of generations earlier processor. So, no, it just didn't add up to me. So I put it back to them again, and they were still, oh yeah, we've got to test it. And, I was not impressed at all, because this was my machine for university. It was terrible. It was, I needed something that was quick. And not only that, the battery wasn't much cop either. So it was, I knew I'd been sold a lemon. And, predictably I got the machine back again, and then they started being quite patronising to me. I was being told off like I was some unruly child. I don't think they were too impressed when a few of my friends from university went with me. He was, the deputy manager was, she was just, basically, it was like, I've told you before, you can't put it back. And she accused me of lying about the system, and, oh no, it's not been missold. I'd rung up PC World, and they were saying, I'd rung up PC World the original time, and they said, oh yeah, you can put it back. But the trouble is, when I got to the store, that person had gone, so I wasn't able to, so they would not believe that someone on the main helpline had said that I can put it back for a refund. They're like, oh yes, this person who we couldn't get hold of. Anyway, so I decided to put in a complaint. Probably shouldn't have done it in class, but I did it anyway. And that was mishandled. During this time, I thought, okay, well, I'm going to try it my way. I'm going to go for a clean Windows 7 install, and I'm going to, install the drivers myself manually. Trouble is, Sony, on that particular machine, they had a way that the features wouldn't work as expected unless it was one of their install images. I couldn't get the brightness to work on the screen, so I rang up Sony, and the guy there said that I was not supported if I used my own installation. I had to use their install image. So, I mean, that was just a heap of rancid enchiladas. I was just, you know, I had to use an image that was completely unoptimized for a machine that was completely unoptimized. Anyway, eventually the whole thing came to a head. I managed to, I rung up a game back while I was at my ex's house. Well, she was my girlfriend then. We didn't split up over the laptop, by the way. And, I'd said what had happened and the state of the machine, and she said, hold on, I'm going to ring PC World in Aberdeen and, I'll get this sorted. So I stayed on hold listening to whatever it was, probably Mozart or Vivaldi or something. And she came back to me and she said, right, go down there. They've been instructed to give you a full refund. So I did, and I was met with a different person who was really quite nice. She asked me, what do I do in the case of someone like yourself who is visually impaired? Because the Sony Vaio was just not powerful enough to... I think even displaying the Vaio logo on boot up was too much for that thing. So I said, well, to be honest, I'm going to go and get a MacBook Pro with magnification software built in. And it won't... Because that was another thing, I needed to use the Windows magnifier, which seemed to tax the machine even more. So the woman said, okay, that's absolutely fine. She said, well, we've got to give you a refund because we have nothing else in stock that's suitable for you. So I said, well, that's perfectly fine by me. So I went to the Apple store and I bought Betsy. And she was with me for from 2009 through 2012. And unfortunately I had to sell her because I was a wee bit short on cash. However, the upshot of this is I was perusing my hard drive the other day. I keep all my photographs backed up as best I can. And sometimes I've made some videos. I don't know what the point of the videos were. But I made a couple about this machine. So I did so on a Nokia E71 mobile phone. So I'm going to tell you now that the sound and the resolution of the videos is, well, beyond par. But if you want to stay and watch, then please feel free to do so. Because this is basically, at the time, me with the Sony Vaio laptop, which went a long time ago. And it's basically chronicling... well, not everything, but it's certainly chronicling, some of the things that I had to go through to try and get the machine to go. So please do feel free to sit back, relax, and watch some of these videos. Well, it seems that this video does not have an audio track, so I guess I'll narrate. It seems that what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to close a window of some files. I think I've just must have installed WinRAR or something. Windows Update is running in the background, as you will see. As you can tell, I'm quite obviously fed up. But I've got Windows Update and the Windows Magnifier running, but still, I personally don't think that these items should actually be causing the laptop to quit working in that kind of a fashion. Believe me. I mean, even now, given the number of Windows 7 based computers I've worked with, throughout having the business and what have you, this machine is operating in a way that's just unacceptable. Windows Update, which is normally a background process. Trying to start Windows Explorer, which is a very simple task, becomes a great challenge. Eventually it starts, but... Oh, well, look, I'd also wanted to start the magnifier. Eventually it starts, but eventually... How many course is this again? Let's just have a look, see. It's 2. Probably just nitpicking now, but yeah, this is Sony Gate. This very slowly growing. Oh. Yeah. Hey, what's your story, fella? I thought I'd gone and deleted you. Unfortunately, this phone's video won't show it, but the Sony Vaio has got a fantastic screen. Keyboard has isolated keys. Makes it dead easy for typing. Internet Explorer attempting to load. That's okay. I know why that is. Why those updates have failed. Do you want me to show you? Because Expression Studio 3 is installing, and it's making use of Microsoft's long-time famed MSI installer routine, which is about 10 years old now. Okay, I will concede that in some of those last videos there were a couple of programs installing, but I don't know about Windows Update and me installing a program running at the same time. That must have happened when you connect a Windows machine to the internet. It sometimes starts Windows Update automatically, but still, you know, was still a bit slow. I mean, you saw how that Sony Gate application, how long that took to come up. What you're looking at now is the machine starting up from a cold boot. I have killed the audio on this because actually I was in class at the time, kind of doing this quite surreptitiously, and the lecturer is talking, so I personally do not think he would appreciate, well, first of all, I don't think he would have appreciated me making this video in his class, but I certainly do not believe he would appreciate his voice being put onto a video that's YouTube bound. Again, I don't really know why I was making these videos. Yeah, I mean, it's not like I had a YouTube account. Well, I did. I mean, I had Blue Planet 64 at the time, and I had, you know, made a couple of videos, but, you know, I wasn't doing regular, very regular stuff like I am now. But what you're looking at here is we're waiting on Windows 7 booting up. And the first part did seem to, you know, go pretty quickly. But what we're looking at here is the welcome screen. And, yeah, it will go in a minute. But I guess we're going to be looking at it for some time. Wow. Oh, there we go. Here's the desktop. Like I said, I mean, it you know, it took about 10 minutes of hard disk cluttering before it was ready to use. And oh yeah, by the way, I did eventually go and delete Sony Gate because, I mean, that's something that I didn't use. One thing that this laptop had a nasty habit of doing is I would select a thing from the start menu program, and it would just kind of stay there. The start menu would stay there going, and what? And no, that is not an excuse for the start menu to have went missing in Windows 8.x, but watch it now. It's gonna, yeah. I mean, sometimes it did work, but oftentimes it was, the machine itself was just too impractically slow and, you know, what have you, for me to use. The MacBook, in comparison, it cost nearly 3 times as much, but it was a lot better. Well, when I say it cost 3 times as much, I got a student discount on it. Waiting on Word 2007. The then 3-year-old program. Come on. Come on. Come on. Can go all day with this. There we go. Oh, bloody typical that, isn't it? Look at that. Starts working the minute I start videoing it. My new Sony Vaio laptop thinks it's part of the Black Eyed Peas.
I want them boom, boom, powder.
This is Laura's computer starting from cold. Let's just see if we can compare them. Now, whereas the Vaio is a 2.2 gigahertz Core 2, this is actually a 2.1 gigahertz Athlon. Also kitted out with Windows 7, whereas the Vaio is a 64-bit machine, this is a 32-bit machine. There we go. So password in. I should have done a side-by-side comparison of the two, but as you can see, Laura's machine was just much quicker off the mark, and just in general, just a much quicker machine. And look at that, it's ready for work in the same century that I booted it up. Oh, and here's another one of the Vaio booting up. Yeah, I thought that I had done a video, actually, while I was in PC World, of me going through the recovery routine. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have. So I don't know why it's not in this reel that I've just imported. Maybe I need to actually go and drag it into the video editing software. In fact, it probably you know, if it's there, it will follow. If not, then very sorry about that. Well, that's bloody typical, isn't it? Two looks to have been off the mark, but look, this is still taking quite a while. I think that this machine's killer was not necessarily in the amount of time it took to start Windows, per se, more in the amount of time it took once it was in Windows to become ready for use. Look, it is kind of a fair test because I have the same theme on it and everything. But I know that this video is longer than the previous video in this sequence, so yeah. It's funny that looking back on it now, it doesn't actually appear that much slower than Lauda's machine, but having said that, it was quite unworkable at the time. I do remember that. I certainly wouldn't have kicked up as much of a fuss about it as I did. Oh, there we go. I mean, there was good, a couple of good points about this machine with the keyboard and the screen. I loved them. They really were very nice. And I would have kept it if it hadn't have been such a headache. Because I must have liked it when I picked it up in the store. Welcome to this video. This is my Sony Vaio starting up from cold take 2. Since the last time I started it up, I have had it formatted. I put my own copy of Windows 7 on it, deleted the recovery partition table, then restored it using the recovery disks. Then I set about removing all sorts of Sony stuff, McAfee, Sony Gate, Vaio movie collection, drag to disk, whatever that is. And let's have a look at the results. Now, last time I was in Rolly Lishman's class, so I couldn't actually speak to you. What I plan to do is boot this computer into Windows and then go into Word, just like I did last time. Right, now we're into part 2. I've typed in my password. So it's still taking a while. But I'm lucky, I guess. Actually, Word is on the wee button bar. Yeah, that car is copyright 2009 Ferrari, I guess. This time the computer's on a power supply. It's not actually that much quicker, if I'm honest. But there's nothing I can do. Apparently, it's supposed to be like this. This is how the computer is. So, yeah. Apparently it's all my fault. PC World won't give me any legal standpoint. You know, it's pretty crap, customer service wise. And that's it started. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this particular video. Sometimes the machine would run not bad, but other times it would just be downright offensive. Like I said, I did eventually replace it with the MacBook Pro, which was a much better machine in every which sense of the word. I mean, that was just, well, it was amazing, really. And, back then, owning a Mac was still a sensible idea. They actually put things like removable RAM or removable hard drives in place, and this thing called an optical drive, which is they're really quite good. They allow you to read wee shiny discs like this, and that's just great. However, that was the video on the Sony Vaio Nightmare Edition. So in future, if I was going to buy a laptop now, I probably would buy a Windows one. Because there's still a lot of Windows ones that have expandable things like hard drives, RAM. Some even let you take out the processor and replace it. So if I was going to buy a Windows laptop now, what tips would I say? What tips would I give? Well, I would say don't go for the consumer end machine. Sony apparently make a lot of good machines, even though the ones that I've had in have just been irreparable. Some of them are really quite nice. I had a Sony Vaio in 2012 that I was given that ran XP. That was really nice. Some of the machines, consumer machines, are basically built down to a price. They're basically built for people who just don't care about computers. They're basically built like white goods. Business machines are, again, they're probably built like white goods again. But being a business machine, they're designed to last and to be optimized, a wee bit properly at least. Because if you think about it, if you scare off a consumer from a particular brand, that's just one consumer. They really don't care about the opinion of Joe Public. Because for every person who boycotts a particular given brand, there's a number of people. There's a great big number of people who will continue to buy said brand. This is why you still see systems wearing PC World's Advent badge. I personally think that Advent systems are not to be trifled with, whereas other people would be just like, well, I'm going to get it. I personally would spend a wee bit more money and get a business machine. What particular business machines would I get? Certainly a Dell Vostro. I mean, Dell Vostros are still kind of consumer orientated, but more business. They're the cheaper alternative to the Latitude, whereas they are a more expensive alternative to an Inspiron. People have said to me, certainly south of the border, people have said to me, but Jay, Dells are terrible. I'm like, well, not really. Not if you buy the right ones. Okay, the Inspirons, I've heard a lot of people have a lot of problem with Inspiron machines. Whereas, the Dell Vostro machines and the Dell Latitude machines, they are just lovely. Really. And with business machines, you can actually install it how you want. They expect you to do that. Because network admins do have their own installation. You can upgrade stuff and you'd be absolutely fine. I mean, even down to my old MacBook Pro. I mean, my Apple Care still was valid. If I replaced the hard drive in the machine. My Sony Vaio, Sony would not even talk to me until I recovered it back using the factory restore image. Seriously, Sony. Seriously. That sort of shit gets absolutely no custom at all whatsoever from me. I don't care that you make good machines. That attitude has put me off your products, your computer products. I'll only take a Sony Vaio if I'm given it. I mean, or, sometimes I'll even buy, older ones, but having a Vaio as my main machine, not anymore. Not anymore. And there's a lot of Sony stuff that I do quite like. The PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 4 looks quite nice as well. But a Sony personal computer? Nah, I don't think so. I really do not think so. Go home, Sony. You're drunk. And one thing that I didn't show you in that video. They said to me, Jay, this isn't a work laptop, this is a multimedia laptop. I thought, well, okay. Plugged my TV tuner card in it to record an episode of Top Gear. The thing fell to bits. Well, not physically, but the Windows installation just... the whole thing just crumpled under the pressure. Yeah, that multimedia. I can't record something in Media Center without it going... Yeah. Seriously. And this is me being a collector of old machines, you know. I use 486s for fun. And even they are better optimized than the Sony Vaio NWS/S. I now know what it stands for. The S. Anyway, it's time for me to end this video. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see videos, hopefully from this decade as well, please feel free to subscribe. The URL will follow. Also, feel free to follow us on Google Plus and on Facebook. The Facebook URL will also follow. Thank you for... See you all again.